problem now?
There's nothing wrong with your set. It's all me. Ha, sorry guys. Welcome to Stone Soup Poetry. We have a feature tonight to close out the eclectic month of February. It is officially 1 month since been over a month now since Trump has inauguration, which means we're 1 month past Fimbulwinter. And if you know anything about Norse mythology, Fimbulwinter lasts for 3 years before the coming of the Twilight of the Gods, also known as Ragnarok. Who's going to be the two people at the end of the fight? Let's who's going to play the role of the Midgard serpent? I'm guessing Elon Musk and Thor can be Trump because he has the red hair. He has the red hair. The hammer. This is the best hammer. Only worthy people can wear it with the gold card, with the immigration gold card. I'm surprised people didn't didn't talk about the gold card. That is just like if yeah, this is oh God. Okay, anyway, here have this one be on here for the open mic. Okay, anyway, enough of that. This is a time of positivity. Megha Sood is our feature tonight. Everyone give her a round of applause. We do have an open mic beforehand, as she knows. Last time she featured with us, it was back in 2022, and I was down with COVID. I don't know whether things are better now or then. At least it is hard to tell. It is very hard to tell. On one hand, I had COVID and almost got pneumonia. On the other hand, the world was a little less on fire. We will, you can be the judge of that, but it was a delay. It was a wonderful feature then. It's going to be a wonderful feature tonight. She'll be reading from her new collection. But first, let's get to the open mic selection. Not content to rest on their laurels, Ari Whipple, after their successful Stone Soup feature, is back on the open mic. Ari, take it away.
Oh, am I starting? Oh, wow.
If you
Okay.
are.
Sure. Yeah, I typed up a poem from July 2023 and it really gave me a lot to think about giving like what's going on now. Just the differences in perspective. So this one's called Cattails in the Breeze. Some unseen apparition comes focused around, and my head is floating in the clouds. They continue to come see you, and there's a boat hovering just off the dock. I wonder what their intentions are, but I'm not really paying attention to the plot. They're just background noise to the symphony of life. The waves slap the side of their vessel as they have their conversation, and the wind is whispering secrets from side of my face. I make no move to brush the hair that's blowing to get it out of the way. I leave it sway like cattails in the breeze.
I like that one. Very good. Thank you so much, Ari, and thanks for a wonderful feature at the beginning of this month. You opened, and now it's sunrise, sunset. Now you are back for the last feature of February, and the we'll announce if you haven't seen it already. We'll be announcing and introducing next week's feature on the open mic. But first, or I should say next, let's welcome the poet of Three Rivers himself. Check out his work at oddballmagazine.com and please consider submitting yourself. Thanks to everyone who has submitted over the last few weeks and months. Definitely looking for more roving poets, as I think I forget who coined the term, but I like the idea of the roving poet being contributing to our poems and our literature on current events. We're definitely looking forward to more of that and more contributors. But it always pays to have stalwarts in this world of unpaid literature. Moving on from that, let us go now to Ron Brenner.
Well, I've been very lucky to have uh, 10 poems published in Patterson Literary Review. This one was accepted this year. And in fact, I'm going to be going over to Patterson this Saturday to the Alexander Club to read this. So this is called At the 14th Street Subway Station. At the 14th Street Subway Station, I reached for my Metro card, but in my left pocket found only some bare trees, and in my right pocket only a grand piano, which you proceeded to play, while patrons gathered to cheer and flip coins and coffins into your green beret. We collected those ill gotten gains and paid both our fares with one leftover coffin to spare. So on the train, I opened it to find a dancing bear, which danced its way to complete satisfaction and love in the rain. We looked at each other and wondered what we'd been doing wrong all these years. So you changed your name to Felonious and mine to Big Brick, and we danced our way to the downtown convention of weekends and todays, where we enjoyed a buffet of thunderclouds, daydreams, and answers. And you decided that we had everything we needed forever, except for unstable frequencies and too much pride. Thank you and have a pleasant evening.
Thunder, what was it? Thunderclaps, daydreams, and answer. That I like that. I like that line. I'm gonna go back and listen to it when I do my crouton poem. Check out the crouton poem. Check out all my crouton poems. I have a very fragile ego and like hits on my blog. Let's go next to. I'm being too divulging. It's been a long week. And thank you, Nike. And let's introduce next week's feature, Nike Truth, who's been a wonderful addition to our open mic. And I am so glad Nike is going to be featuring and kicking off March. And hopefully, I will have another feature announced by Thursday or Friday. Time will tell. And thank you so much. And Nike, take it away.
All right, good evening, everyone. And I am super excited for next week. Okay, this is a poem I actually just finished a couple of days ago. I was feeling kind of nostalgic of childhood. Its current title is Grandpa's Cooking. I cannot wait to go home. I cannot wait to go home. I cannot wait to go home because I heard that Grandpa cooked. It's boiling in the iron. It's boiling in the iron. It's been boiling in the iron for an hour, Mama says. And I know what it is. I know what it is. I know what it is. It's gravy, jellied to perfection, that has been soaked into liver, that has been soaked into pork chops, and those onions and carrots. And every minute I am away. Every minute I am away. Every minute I am away from my street, my driveway, my front door, a spoon and a bowl is agony. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And up next, the person that I should have had go next because I introduced them. This is what happens when you're exhausted. We are, but Nike, babe, thank you so much for reading. Be sure to catch Nike's feature next week. Catch all our features coming up. Hopefully, I'm going to be announcing the April features. Fun little fact, I might need someone to help co-host on Wednesday. I don't know what condition I'm going to be. I might be at parts unknown for a couple of days and just coming back on Wednesday. So I may need a host, I may not, but I'll be creating the event. So if anyone's interested and has Zoom experience, let me know. Um, more with that to come. Okay, we are going to introduce next Richard Spizak. Before I forget again.
Thank you so much. I'm not going to give you my 6 reasons of what I did last week, but this is called What Is It? What is it that tumbles there deep in his brain? Now it seems we're at war with the dusty, ancient, rusty nation of Spain. What is it that brings us once again near his ornery, sad refrain? Now we're at 'em, we're at war. Which one is it? Oh, yeah, Spain. Who else has set his little heart afire? Is it the Maldives that provokes his ire? Was he losing there at golf once that his stewing the mad lad deeply frowning in his cups? Was it Paraguay that caused his wrath and ire, that sent him screaming there, frenzied, unaware, high atop his tower there? How is it he already forgot tonight? We bombed the little darlings not once but twice, just in the last hour. What a pretty flower. Now, they've gone and done it. Now he's really mad. He once got sand in his slippers when he visited Samarkand. So he's ordered out the Navy. We sent him to attack, but they'll first have to find a nearby ocean. There might be an extra one. Maybe it's out back. The Galapagos Islands were on last week's list. He thought he saw one of those antique turtles lean back and shake a fist. And a Malay Vidge once raised his ire. He saw their Miss America entry, and his little tiny heart's all afire. He asked them to send her to Mar-a-Lago, the plucky little country, told him right where to go. Last Tuesday, he told us Antarctica will be next. He thought it insulted him. Well, so what the heck? He built a ski resort there for Don Jr., Yvonne, and Eric. He'll send them there in irons if they give him another panic. He heard of the ancient Egyptian god Bast. That was too much for him. This pussycat must be dispatched. It shall not last. Just another whim. Once he saw a gopher at his Doral's 18th hole. He had the thing set afire, so he had to drop a hydrogen bomb there to ease his ire. Rent will be reduced there for a while in the neighborhood. It was left a flaming radioactive zone, which wasn't entirely good. A mongoose was one shown to him sometime in a zoo. He thought he remembered the damn thing was from Michigan, just outside Kalamazoo. So he had the whole place leveled last Friday night. It was an unannounced episode, but he watched it all night. For entertainment, his programming spot on. He really gets it right. Marco brings the nachos. You can count on him. Christine Nome brings hot dogs when they let her in. Bobby Kennedy favors tequila, but you have to share the worm. The CDC and the FDA are shut down, so the details cannot be confirmed. Canada is now our 51st and second state. Quebec insisted on separate statehood with second-class citizenship. Well, that fracking francophone freight. Guadeloupe and Madagascar are 53 and 4. So yeah, who's left? Who's going to argue? We are what we are. Same old as new. And Gaza was liberated. It's earned his 55th star. There's only one with 6 points, like the shiny golden czar. Some called it a bit off-putting, a new kind of foreign aid. Instead of milk and cookies, we send them a big grenade. Our army's never prouder. A parade each and every week to keep the cost in check. By the way, some killjoys have their own opinion. They may have called it bleak. We're no longer care for the wounded. If you're hurt, you're on your own. There's a plan in the works to issue all the wounded a super smart Musk AI phone. It allows for one phone call, but just 5 minutes tops. They could have made it longer, but that's for winners, not for flops.
I missed our war with Spain.
Don't worry, it's
What are we?
coming around again.
What
Once
are
that
we?
truth serum wears off, Shad.
What are we recruiting pirate ships now?
Hey,
That St. Francis Drake, he was a worker. He was like, oh, go. Anyway, dear Lord. And now, back in the trenches of Stone Soup and about to enter the political trenches, or I should say, re-enter the political trenches again. Let's welcome up Patricia Kerrigan.
Okay. Well, I'm reading a poem. It's going to be published tomorrow in New Verse News. Thank you, James Penner. When pens run dry. When pens run dry and keyboards break down. When lips are sealed and hands and feet turn numb. When polarization hits all forms of intelligence and emotions function only to exist. Then we become data to feed the mainframe's program. Each movement, thought pattern, monitored and regulated daily. A program to be upgraded by the whims of a certain elite. The prophecies of Orwell, Atwood, and Huxley. 1984 is now. We are the Handmaid's Tale. Welcome to your brave new world. Thanks. Very serious, but
Thank you,
what are you
Patricia.
going to do? I can't always joke about this.
I know what you mean. I do. Let's welcome up next, Mr. John Wisick.
Okay, well, gee whiz, I have a new book out, a book of parodies. It's called Reductio ad Absurdum. It contains many Morris pill bottle mysteries, and also this piece, which is about a post-COVID poetry reading that happened maybe a little bit too soon. It's called Ballad of the In-Person Poetry Reading. Roads of valor, roads of struggle, roads of blood. No one treads these ribbons of concrete and asphalt by choice. We do it out of duty, duty to friends, duty to community, duty to art. So when the call to a COVID safe reading came, I did not hesitate. Despite my numb lips, gaping wound in my neck, and anemic vaccine, I answered the call. In a quest for a folding chair, I braved a Maxwell Boltzmann distribution of shopping carts loaded with timber of cedar and precious cypress, all darting this way and that like molecules in a statistical equilibrium. When all seemed lost, a mage in waistcoat the color of sunset directed me to aisle 21. Now, with my treasure in the back seat and my poetry collection by my side, I set off to combat cannonades of gridlock, kamikaze mergers, and fusillades of rubberneckers. Rumble strips shook my vehicle like flak from 88 millimeter cannons, and SUVs threatened my six. In the confusion of battle, a rusted, hulking semi clouded my vision with diesel smoke. Desperate to read the exit sign, I throttled my 1.3-liter, sending power to four massive cylinders, swung past the driver, his face an impassive mask of indifference, like that of a boy raining flood and destruction on anthills with a garden hose, and cut in front, dodging tons of steel by mere millimeters. 100 miles of gridlock followed, 100 miles of blind on ramps, 100 miles of frayed nerves and narrow escapes. The Valhalla verse took place in an outdoor park where trees did their fall striptease, dropping burning leaves on a stage of grass and concrete. Publisher Pete wielded a mic stand like Menelaus's great sword, while Colin Redbeard parried with a manuscript stout as Achilles' bronze shield. Face masks rare as a glimpse of fair Helen atop the walls of Ilium. Delta Dawn worked the crowd, embracing friends and strangers alike. Chris Corona transferred viral DNA from lips to cheeks, crowning recipients with fever, loss of smell, and chance of hospitalization. I am so over this pandemic, Delta said. But the pandemic was not through with us. I gathered my treasures left. Thank you.
That new book is on my list. Thank you, John. I'm including the two videos I talked about, the one before the meeting started, the official recording, the Nicolas Cage Pachinko Japanese commercials. You'd be surprised how Hollywood makes their money when they're not making movies anymore. Um, and the other one is the Space King, the animated feat, which is I'm an animation buff. Many people aren't, but I felt it was almost like almost a pure vision of the future of youth if we're not careful. We are we are moving along, and I'd like to bring up Jan Rowe to the open mic, to the podium.
Okay, this is something edited from last week because, well, this goes back to the mid 1980s. Um, the poem, or no, it's not a poem. What I'm writing about, that horrible class, was followed by the seventh period, 224 to 311. And we created a writing program together called Writing Easy. Stare at paper until blood beads on forehead. Now, I tried to offer this as a volunteer program for 3 years in the Boston Art School and the Walkable School, but nobody seems to want it, so I use it. And I am in two writing groups, so this is called Composure or Lack Thereof. On the verge of bursting into, dissolving into, blubbering's worse. Why are you crying? Why aren't you? 6 tots have frozen to death in Gaza the last 2 days. I feared Howard was going to freeze to death outside the South End Library, but he didn't. So then my poet, yeah, I call him the picker, poet, prophet, husband, says, poke him in the eye. And I say, honey, that's not very nice. Okay, so sixth period, difficult class. They've been at Votech school in the morning. They took the bus ride and they're here for lunch and 2 or 3 classes. Very difficult. Now, simultaneously, while I'm in sixth period with this rough bunch, my mother, 7 hours away, who finally learned to drive in her 60s, was in a collision. At the exact same time, I lost my composure. So I went into the library, and the sixth period students filed single file into the library after me. As you know, then I'm crying because this thing with my mom 7 hours away, and then they start to blame each other for making me cry. Thank you. I love that piece.
Thank you, Jan. And now up next, Golden Shovels in Our Future. We can only hope. Here's Marianne Honecker.
I was going to read today from the other manuscript. This is called Daffodil. When we met, I didn't believe in God, but asked the powers that be to bind your soul to mine. Daffodils have power. They come first, in the cold, whether it be cloudy or sunny. They have a clock inside. They are not defeated by unexpected snow. My words were obviously a bad decision. Words have power. Say them and they will bloom in their time. They too have a clock inside. Those words I spoke, I chanted, part of a love poem I read out loud, reached into quantum possibilities cauldron, cooked up something I didn't want. The night has a clock inside it. You can't see the hands move. If you could hear the stars, they would be ticking. The moon gongs through the hours as it talks to the sky. When I said the words, all the stars screamed. I see the world differently than I did before I spoke, before our night of violence. Now my soul droops in one corner like a trailer home on a shifting foundation. The rains come and soften the ground. The rains are you. You don't have to do anything. This just is. Do I think love in the time of cholera is romantic or insane? I don't know which way to answer. First love is a spell. My words were a spell. I wish they were softer, less full of faith. The protagonist in the book loved his first love all his life until her husband died and her body wilted. He waited. I have not waited. I have loved many, but the magic stays with you. I've tried to banish you with subsequent words, but the first ones hold, like a daffodil in spring snow. There I was, sitting on the blue carpet, beside the ruffles of my pink canopy bed, still very much a child, when I cast this first spell. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron. Very nice. Up next, our visual poet from Delaware. The only visual poet from Delaware that we have. Let's welcome Robert Fleming and check out his work at Oddball Magazine today.
Thank you, Chad. And to celebrate the work that is in Oddball today, which is featured as a horse, I want to first invite some Zoom room participation and invite everybody to unmute. And we will start with just doing the sound of a horse, which of course is the neigh. And I will start, neigh.
Oh, whoa, whoa.
I always
Nobody can
vote
hear me
contrary.
except you.
Thank you. And we will also do as a group one more of the TV slogans by the well-known show Mr. Ed. And the word is, a horse is a horse is a horse, of course. So on three, a
Horse
horse
is a horse,
Is a
a horse, a
horse,
horse,
Is
a
a
is a
horse.
horse,
You see the horse
of
of
is
course.
course.
Mr. Ed.
Wonderful. And that TV show was in black and white, and now I will share my art. This is a work which I did last year, which is called Note Cowboys. It was the cover of a magazine for Four Feathers Press called Rhythms, and the background is the Badlands Park at South Dakota in the United States. This is another work which also features the Badlands as the background. And I was very excited to be able to create this work. One of my inspiration artists is Salvador Dali, and I feel in this work I've come the closest to his inspiration. The work that Oddball featured today featured this horse, but it was digitally manipulated. This is an image that I scraped from the public domain from the web. And then here is the horse where I've used the edit filter of a shadow under the horse. And here I've converted it to a black and white image with a filter called Tracer. And here is a filter called Trippy, which will take your image and make it 3 of it and then add color to it. I further took the image from the last one and applied a filter called Liquify, which sort of makes the horse look like a monster. And then this also is a surreal image of the horse where I've created body distortion, again using the filter Liquify. And then this is the image that Chad paired with a fiction work today. It is called Rainbow Horse Race. All of the horses in this image are of the style of impressionistic. And then this is the horse race again, where the horses are of the style surrealistic, where the body is distorted. Here is a horse, which is the same horse, which has the filter voxel art applied, which makes the horse look like it is Lego. And then here is the horse shopping in the grocery store. And then other horses which are also shopping in the grocery store. And all of these horses were created using the voxel art feature. So thank you for letting me share my digital artwork with horses, and I will put in the chat the link for the Oddball publication today. And thank you for all of the Zoom room participation.
Well, yeah, the Stone Soup players have to keep on their toes. You need vocal exercises. As a recommendation, since we're talking about Mr. Ed, look for the scene in Mr. Ed where he plays baseball and he actually slides into home. It is absolutely hilarious. Up next and up last, as far as the open mic is concerned, is our closer, the Oddball columnist. Check out his work. It's all one thing every Thursday morning without fail at 11 o'clock. James, take it away, sir.
Thanks, Chad. Thank you, Chad. So I got a poem here. This is about the last time we went to Rome, Italy. It's called Into the Sunset. The last night we were in Rome, Italy, I've been reading two guidebooks with maps, one in English, the other in Dutch. I was lost in the overwhelming plethora of churches until finally I read about St. Giovanni's, the actual seat of the Bishop of Rome, who is, of course, now the Pope, who normally resides in the walled Vatican, but goes out on carefully scheduled visits to 7 different cathedrals and basilicas. So I walk all the way down to the old wall of Trajan, through a very working class neck of the Roman hoods, with all these folk out on Friday night with blowtorches welding cars, and beggars with arsenal of fundraising techniques besieging the way down the hill to the wall. And round the square hulk of Lateran palace of bureaucracy, I see in the very center the biggest Egyptian obelisk I've ever yet seen, looming up above me across the street. Still, I can see how exquisite its hieroglyph glory sitting in front of this place Constantine chose to establish his first great Christian cathedral for a faith that had been hiding in people's homes and in the depths of the catacombs. A persecuted minority becomes suddenly favored faith, as in, under this sign, you will conquer a mutual aid society, quick transmuted into official dogma. So, only after I turned past St. Helens, that is Constantine's mother, and her holy Basilica of the Sacred Cross of Jerusalem, as I walk into the sun, setting over the huge form of the Colosseum, will I eventually find out that Constantine ordered the obelisk brought to Rome, and his son put it up in the Circus Maximus as a pylon marker for the chariot races, where it fell over when the city was left in ruins, when the empire collapsed until 1,000 years later,
Wow.
Pope Sixtus V put it up in front of San Giovanni Cathedral, and it actually is one of the largest, oldest Egyptian sun god obelisks, standing now for almost half a millennium in front of the church, still the seat of the Bishop of Rome, aka the Pope, who I hope manages to get over his double pneumonia. Thank you. Peace.
Oh, that's good, honey. I like that. Mm,
Oh.
that's good.
Thank you so much, James. Some reminders, there were some calls for submissions that are going to be coming up soon. One in particular is the Silence is Not Consent anthology, which Patricia Carrigan was nice enough to let me know about. I believe the deadline is, I want to say it's March 1st, but I'll
Didn't
be,
give a deadline yet, but just send it.
oh, there isn't a deadline. Oh, my bad. I wonder which publication I'm getting confused with. Well, I will,
It's
I'll be,
Chris Bogart. Chris Bogart's the guy you deal with. Don't
I'll
send
be
so
resubmitting that information and other opportunities as they come. A lot of people are a lot of people are looking to publish some important work. And also be here next week for Nike Truth. I'm looking forward to that. And now, without any further ado, it gives me pleasure to welcome Megha Sood and to thank her for all of her work that she's been doing, whether it's her books or her presence on an open mic or her presence organizing events like the poets and the poets in the pandemic series. I know I said that completely wrong, but she has done quite she has done quite a bit for us and is one of the great people I've been able to meet and feature as a result of the new global village that our very unstable health system has caused, for lack of a better word. To get to the boilerplate, Megha Sood is an award-winning Asian American author, poet, editor, and literary activist. A literary partner with Life in Quarantine at Stanford University. That's the part I want. I forgot the name. Her four poetry collections include the award-winning "My Body Lives Like a Threat," "My Body Is Not an Apology," and "Language of the Wound is Love." Two from Flower Song Press, one from Fishing Line Press. She has received support from Vona, Penn Women, Dodge Foundation, Kunman, and Martha's Vineyard Writing Institute. Her 900 plus works have been featured in print, online journals, public exhibits, and anthologies, including the Poetry Society of New York, MS Magazine, NYPL, Penn Magazine by American Penn Women, PBS, American Portrait, NPR, WNYC Studio, etc., and numerous universities, including Stanford, Howard University, George Mason, CUNY, and many, many, many more. Her poems anthology, The Medusa Project, and other works have been selected to be sent to the moon in 3 separate rocket missions in 2025 as part of the historical Lunar Codex project in collaboration with NASA, SpaceX, though I think some people want to keep that last part quiet. She co-edits the annual Brownstone Poets Anthology and lives with her son and husband in New Jersey. Which means, as we're speaking right now, at least one of her works is on the way to the moon as I say these words. That's got to be exciting and thrilling as hell. So that is definitely a feather in your cap, one amongst many. Give some of us a chance, man. God, I have some of us have jobs. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. The accolades are all well deserved. The book is much anticipated. I'm sure she'll leave links to purchase it and try and get it before February 28th because that's the big buy nothing day. And now let's put our hands together 40, 50 times for Megha returning. And I can actually listen without coughing. This is a plus.
Thank you so much, Chad, for this kind and generous introduction. And thank you so much for always making space for me in the Stone Soup. And before I start reading from my fourth poetry collection, Language of the Wound is Love, it's slated for publication on March 10th by Flower Song Press. I just want to give a brief synopsis of what the title is about. So, the thing which came to me while selecting this title is how the different kind of wounds are inflicted on like humanity. You know, the wounds like gender and sexual based discrimination, violence against women, war and displacement and migration and the refugee problem and all of that and all the isolation that we the humanity went through during pandemic and everything, all of this like needs healing through love. So all the humanity is needing is basically acceptance through love, hence the title, Language of the Wound is Love. So I'm going to be reading 10 poems from this collection, and in the end I'll put the link for the pre-order. It's currently open for pre-order. So the first poem I'm reading is the first poem in the book itself, and it's called Poem, and it's Hunger. Do you ever realize how the body reclaims itself, like the dried scar from its time of birth? You only realize its presence when you see it. Hunger reeks from your soul, and like water from a mother's hair wrung after a bath, It brings out scented memories of something pure and sublime. We all enter a poem, knowing its hunger, and emerge stripped naked of our emotions. There is always a death standing at the end of the sentence. Not every enjambment gives meaning. Some lines are meant to be left often, like the day they found an old crumpled picture of my bombed city in my wallet. We all enter a poem, knowing its hunger, like a night, feverishly trying to find its salvation in the open mouth of the bloody dawn. The next poem is called The Beautiful Death Around Us, and it's based on the invasive species, the lanternfly, which emerged in the summer of 2022 in the eastern part of the United States. I have been taught by my granny to always help an animal in need, even an insect, a monarch with broken wings, fluttering in the shining mud, shining bravely in the pricity of the city, stopping us in our tracks. I hold it gently in the center of my tender palms like an infant, cuddling its existence with all my warmth, and tends to its broken wings till it can fly. One day, a small breasted warbler crashed against the blinding windows of my high rise and fell on the balcony. Death is a shining thing. It draws you in like a Pied Piper, a shining penny half covered in a roll of hay. I tend to its broken wings and wait for it to open its eyes. Numerous tales of kindness and humility come back to me rushing when sometimes kindness becomes a stranger to me. These days are strange. The year is strange. Death and dying have been given a new name. The normal has been anointed again, and yet again. There is an invasive species, as beautiful as a dream in the thicket of the night, with its spotted wings and the fiery abdomen, a spotted lanternfly. And the message that it brings for us is when you see it, kill it. What a terrible act of survival. It is either them or us. The existence is beautiful and yet so devastating. Sometimes I feel how much kindness is left inside this withering soul of mine that can kill a living being with all my might. The next is called They Have Plans for Us, and it's based on the complete abortion ban mentioned in the Project 2025 manifesto. They have plans for us. Oh, yes, they have plans for us. Oh, yes, the one that they have hammered down to the last line, the manifesto, word after word, line after line, pages after pages, mapping the curves of our bodies, silhouettes of our desires, dipped in their thick black inks of subjugation. Yes, they have plans for us. Boxing all the mortal things, bejeweled with life plans, trinkets and bling, underlining their adoration for us, their unfettered love, passion, their soft caring being. Yes, they have plans for us, stripping bare our tongues with hands tied at our backs, wombs scraped clean, as pristine and demure as they want us to be, with their stories of success etched in our spines for kingdoms to come. Yes, they have plans for us to carry the love of incest and rape in our womb, licking our wounds clean but never saying a word, bringing shunned love to our full breast, letting it down a bit, warmly and gently nursing it every day, recounting the days like a horror story on reels. Yes, they have plans for us till our thick blood trickles down murky lanes of a dark, empty parking lot for their sheer pleasure, a sluice of broken dreams and desire, carrying our strangled future. Yes, they have plans for us, for guarding every inch, every iota of our existence, having a lien to our soul, a perfect story of a mother with rounded belly, making it complete, making it whole. Yes, They have plans for us to get on our knees, to say our prayer for exalted gods in heaven, to utter words of salvation and redemption till the kingdom come. Yes, they have plans for us to carry blood stories in our sacred womb and not to utter a single word, to hold the bitter truth on the edge of our teeth while licking razor blades without spilling a word. Yes, they have plans for us, freeing us from all this self destruction our simple minds can't conceive, taking us to yet another hell that they have brilliantly mapped out for us. Thank you. The next is called A Bridge Needs to Be Built. Not every thought stirs me up, not every flicker brightens my heart. It takes 1,000 steps in my heart to take one little step towards you. Not every morning brightens my soul, not every rain washes my sins. I have knelt on so many pews seeking absolution. Not every prayer absolves my sins, not every scar sings songs of my glory. Not every wrinkle is chiseled with experience. I am a fleck of mortality riding the winds of time. Not every moment of history carves me, not every sin I commit defines me. Not every blank space in my heart can be filled. Not every thought of mine can be aligned. But every day in me, I find myself a bridge that needs to be built, a dark corner that needs to be lit. Thank you. The next is called Deciphering the Madness, and this poem was commissioned to be read on the April National Poetry Month in the month of April for WNYC Studio. Deciphering the Madness. I ask the night as it rests on the caligenous back of time, like a thick rope going through the wide open mouth of a blind wall, rubbing against it, leaving marks on its existence. Like a divine mark on the forehead after kneeling before the exalted gods for countless times. I ask myself, is it ever going to be all right again? Thinking as I take a second glance at the empty streets of my house, longing for the clickety clack of the footsteps warming its thin cobbled skin. There is a method to this madness that I used to discover every morning, looking outside my window, counting hurried whisper of crowds as they move towards the station like a mass exodus. Now, I long for those sights that I normally abhorred, the state of the normalcy of what it was before, as the light sheepishly makes its way through thin wooden slats of my bedroom window. Is it ever going to be all right again? The pinging sound of the truck backing up in an alley, soft paws scratching as they dig dirt in the almost bald spot of the park, joggers cladded in sweaty bodies heaving to take in another sliver of breath. Is it ever going to be all right again? I look at puny finches weaving a nest in the oak outside my apartment as they decipher this reigning madness, carefree, carefree weaving home for their future self. I say to myself, it is indeed going to be all right again. The next is called Provenance of My Rage. A sudden gush of emotion slowly traverses, rising like scorched mercury through the knots of my undulating spine. An unsettling notion of standing a little too close to the kiln. My emotions rise and reach a crescendo, simmering and brimming to the core. Words are failing to form in my mouth, falling incessantly to their untimely death, mumbling and gnashing teeth, spitting truth in between. Here, the veracity of my truth depends on the color of my skin, and the gods in heaven to those I pray with my folded hands. This unsettling feeling of fear and nameless rage I feel under my walnut skin as I walk on the empty streets in the morning, fighting the loneliness and the voiceless din. Confronted by a stranger's voice that sends shiver to my bone, laced with privilege, passed to him for generations with his blue blood coursing through his veins. A country he boisterously calls home, asking me with the sheer audacity of his forked tongue and his vile voice, hurling insults, rapping in his privilege, to go back to where I belong. The next is called Trails of Kindness, and it was part of a public exhibit in Jersey City, New Jersey, and it was also published in the Pen Women magazine by National League of American Pen Women. Trails of Kindness. I count the years as I walk past the trees lining my courtyard, counting them one by one neatly on my soft, supple fingers. The mighty oak has weathered worse, and still nests sparrows. The jasmine tree, whose flower-laden shoots smile through their fragrant arms, wave me goodbyes. Their warm presence, deeply carried by the northern winds, even with a slight opening in my kitchen window, they can make their presence felt. What more is to this life than to count the joys and blessings in the crawling lines of my mint plant that is growing and spilling joys in all directions? The new tender leaves of basil twinkling and shining through the sliver of the sunlight. Warm, supple hands of my succulents, holding water as kindness in their thick leaves, remind me of the frail hands of my granny combing my hair and making trails of kindness, reminding me always that kindness is a necessary gesture of acceptance, like the puny sapling breaking through the crumbling earth as it finds hope and grows through pain. I have two more poems. This is called A Condolence Call, and this was written after a real life conversation with my friend who couldn't visit his mom during the pandemic because of the travel restrictions. A condolence call. Grief sits like a day old soup in my kitchen unless anger stirs, rattles, and boils it. Grief rises to the surface and chokes me. I hear the loss of a mother, my friend's mother, over the phone. It is a condolence call, and yet I can't seem to join in his grief. Sudden loss disjoints your body. The pieces don't seem to fit anymore. Body and language are extricable. Our tongue moves in a way our body can't decipher in grief. I can't seem to form a legible sentence. Our conversation keeps coming back to the grocery, the loneliness of being stuck in a condo looking over the lush green deserted parks. I don't want to bring back the conversation of dead and dying. The whole thread of conversation is about feeding the ones we love. Loss is pouring through the thin sluices of the city every damn day, which starts again the same way it ended yesterday. With sidewalks pitted with the bones of the dead, there's a new definition of normal. I can't seem to fathom the desperation and anger in his voice of not being able to visit his mother during her last time. The pain carry over like a failing enjambment from one meaningless conversation to another till we ran out of small talk. The silence between the pause takes the shape of the unsaid condolence as I slowly hang up the phone. There is no defined language for grief. Lesson learned. And I'm going to close my reading with the poem called Brotherhood. And it starts with an epigraph by Martin Luther King Jr. We must live together as brothers, or perish together as fools. Brotherhood. We are all broken, crumbled, rounded again, made from the same clay, caked and baked in the same unforgiving oven. We all have cracks in us, from where the light gets in. Frayed at the border, pulling apart at the seams, peeling off and breaking down into pieces in all our miseries. We are all the same, living under the same ashen, cloudless sky and blue moon in its reverie, breathing the same air, swooning over the same melody of the soul, crooning our necks to the same broken chords. In unison we roll. We are all the same, laughing and cracking up with welled up eyes and bruises we endure, getting stabbed by the same knife, bloodied by the same bullet. Caste, creed, or religion doesn't seem to discriminate or beg to differ. We're all the same heartbeat, sliced and splintered into million pieces, and the same God we worship, holding books with different verses. We all are the same from within, laughing at our scars with abject profundity. We are brothers and sisters, and together we shall live. Thank you, everyone, for listening. I'm just going to put the link of the pre-order of the book.
Please do. Please do. Oh, excellent. That's $18 for pre-order, and that's straight off of Flower Song Press. If you order this in the next 48 hours, I don't think this will count towards your buy nothing day, day of no purchasing on February 28th. I think if it's a poetry publication, it's you're good. Um, but thank you so much, Megha. And are you already working on your next book?
Uh, yeah, actually, kind of.
Tentative title in your mind?
No, yeah, there are actually two books which I'm working on. One of them, so there was a project which I did with like two Jersey City Poet Laureates,
Hmm.
and it's basically a collaborative project where each of us were given like 100 words each week, and we used to write 100 words, and then the next person in the order would take like 3 words from our written thing and used to write his own like his or her 100 words. So this was a collaborative project. It went for 6 months. So this gave like birth to basically a book, and that's one of it. And the other one is it's a feminist centric book which I'm manuscript which I'm working for. And because the other roles also I play with other arts organization, and because
Hmm.
of the book tour going on, there's like a little too much on my plate right now.
I can
So
imagine.
yeah, so that's why this is all. And then I'm also like work with Patricia for the Brownstone anthology. So yeah, and there's three other organization, and I'm also a spoken word judge for a New York based organization. So that's kind of like just like adds together. But yeah, it's the good kind of busy.
So basically, you'll be working on a third book by next week. Got it. Wow. Well, thank you so much for all your wonderful work, and do get the new book from South Flower Song Press. And I'm so glad you could join us again. Hope to see you again soon, and congratulations. Eric Lee Friedman just shared a picture of the shuttle that went up with all of our work on it. And so hopefully one of your books is in there. Or at least one of your poems is in there. It's kind of a nice feeling. It's a little bright, little fresh breath of fresh air amidst the smog of the next 4 years. People are excited to pre-order it. I'm excited to pre-order it. I'm looking forward to your new projects as well, and thanks to everyone for coming out for their support. And next week we will have Nike Truth, and more poets will be announced as they come. And I hope you guys are all going to come back and join us then. And Megha, thank you so much again. And definitely don't be a stranger. And we'll see you soon. And thank you so much. And good luck. You should probably go to sleep now. You have another reading probably in 30 minutes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And we wave goodbye. Wish everyone well. And let's hope we're not too exhausted to not to we're not too exhausted to join next week. Take care of yourselves, take care of somebody
Bye.
else, and have a good night. Show's over. See you next time.
Bye. Gotta go to work tomorrow.
Thanks, everybody.